Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the End Times book series for children podcast, where fun meets learning in the most captivating way. Today we're diving into a spiritual story, the book Fasting and Power. The book presents fasting as a superpower that strengthens individuals not only physically, but also spiritually, helping them develop patience, discipline, and empathy. The book was adopted from the works of the learned Islamic scholar Sheikh Imran Hossein.
We often hear about fasting, right? Like in terms of health or for religious reasons. But what about fasting as like a source of power?
Okay.
This is the really interesting idea behind this book we're looking at.
Okay.
It's called Fasting and Power.
Okay.
And it's by Sheikh Imran Hossein.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's actually a children's book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you might be thinking, a children's book.
Yeah.
On a deep dive.
Right.
But just stick with us because there's a lot here. Even if you think you know all about fasting,
Okay.
this book has a really different perspective.
Okay.
So instead of like all the things you can't eat,
Right.
Fasting and Power uses this analogy of a battery.
Okay.
It's like fasting is charging your spiritual battery.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
What do you think about that approach?
Well, I think it's actually very clever.
Yeah. Especially for a younger audience, that makes it relatable, you know.
Right.
Everyone understands needing to charge their phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it also, I think, brings up something really important about fasting that we don't always talk about, that inner strength aspect.
Yeah.
Like your phone needs that charge to work.
Yeah.
And we need to kind of recharge our willpower or discipline.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of thing.
Totally. And it's arguing that, doing this, especially during Ramadan,
Right.
that's when you get that recharge.
Okay.
It's not just about, okay, no food, no drinks. It's about saying no to all those impulses, not giving in to what you want right away.
Exactly. Yeah.
And through that, the book's saying you build up this like spiritual muscle,
Right.
and then you can use that in other parts of your life. Exactly. I mean, it's like anything else.
Right.
The more you practice saying no to yourself in those small moments,
Yeah.
the more you can handle the bigger things.
Right.
And it leads to good things long term. Like the book says, patience, not giving up, self-control.
Right.
Those are things that help you get what you want in the end, no matter what it is.
Totally. And it's interesting how that idea, that self-control is so important.
Yeah.
It's not just, a religious thing.
Right.
You see it in philosophy too, even without religion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like the Stoics, they were all about self-control. It's like a key part of life for them.
For sure. Like, it's a classic idea that to be a better person, you got to be able to control yourself.
Yeah.
And it goes back a long way and across cultures.
Right. Exactly.
And this book, it takes that universal thing,
Yeah.
but it explains it in a way that even kids can get.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not just about you being better, which is already a big deal.
Right.
But it talks about how fasting helps everyone, all of society.
Okay.
And it uses the Battle of Badr, which is a really big deal in Islamic history.
Right. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So the book uses Badr, right, where you have these early Muslims, outnumbered, but they still win this huge victory.
Yeah.
It's like, see, fasting gives you inner strength.
Exactly.
Like their discipline, their spiritual side, it all helps them be brave and resilient.
Yeah, it's presented as this ultimate test.
Oh, totally.
And imagine you're fasting and preparing for a battle.
It's intense.
Yeah, that takes serious commitment.
No kidding. And it's not just a one-time thing either.
Right.
Lots of traditions, spiritual traditions.
Yeah.
They push you to your limit, physically and mentally.
Right.
It's about finding that inner strength, that ability to bounce back.
So it sounds like even though the book uses this specific battle, the Battle of Badr,
Yeah.
it's really talking about something bigger, something that connects to fasting in general.
Exactly. You got it.
Okay.
It's saying that fasting makes you resilient. And not just for yourself.
Okay.
It also affects your responsibilities to other people.
So it's about more than just you becoming stronger.
Right.
It's about using that strength to actually do something good in the world.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about realizing that when you fast, you start to understand what it's like to be hungry.
Right.
And that should make you want to help other people who are hungry,
Yeah, and not just with food, right?
Right. Exactly. Like you become more aware of all the different ways people struggle. Yeah, like you're more in tune with those needs.
Exactly. And that makes me think about this idea of Ubuntu.
Okay.
As an African philosophy, emphasizes how connected we all are.
Right.
Like we're all human, we all share this world.
Yeah, I see the connection.
And fasting and power, it's like it's saying something similar.
Okay.
When you understand your own hunger, you can understand someone else's hunger better.
Right. And it's interesting because usually people think of self-improvement as like an individual thing.
Totally.
But this book, it's saying it has to go beyond that.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just improve yourself.
Right.
Real power, it's when you use that to lift other people up.
Yeah, I like that. And this book, it gets real about how hard that can be, especially these days.
Oh, for sure.
Like there's this part where it talks about how many distractions we have now.
Totally.
It's easy to forget why we're fasting in the first place.
Yeah, that's so true.
Like we're surrounded by things that want our attention.
It's like we're hardwired for instant gratification now.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Huh.
It's everywhere.
Exactly. Everywhere you turn.
And that makes fasting even tougher.
Yeah, for sure.
But maybe also even more important now because of that.
Totally. And I think that's what makes this book's message so powerful.
Yeah.
It's not like a set of rules, you know?
Yeah.
It's about giving you the tools like self-awareness, discipline,
Right.
so you can handle all the craziness of the world.
It's like you're choosing to be in control.
Yeah, exactly. Choosing what you pay attention to, what you do.
Not letting yourself just react to everything.
Right. It's about being intentional.
Exactly. And realizing that true fulfillment, it doesn't come from always chasing the next thing, the next dopamine hit.
The next notification, the next, like...
Right, exactly. There's something more, something deeper.
Yeah. And this book says fasting can help you find that.
Okay.
It's about that inner strength, you know?
Yeah.
Mastering your desires, living by what you believe in.
And that's powerful, right?
Absolutely.
Because it means you're choosing it. Not
Exactly.
being forced on you. It's like you're taking back control.
It's empowering.
Yes, that's the word.
And I think that's a really important message, especially for young people today.
Definitely.
This idea that fasting isn't some kind of punishment.
Right.
It's actually a way to live a better life, a more meaningful life.
And it challenges you, right?
For sure, it makes you think about your relationship with, well, everything.
And that discomfort, that challenge.
It's a good thing, you know?
Yeah, you hear that a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger
Exactly. And sometimes you find out what you're truly capable of.
when you put yourself outside that comfort zone.
Exactly, 100%. And fasting and power, it's saying fasting can be that push.
Okay.
It can help you be stronger, more self-aware.
Right.
And ultimately, you can use that inner strength to change yourself, but also the world around you.
It's almost like fasting is practice for the big stuff.
Right. Like, life is going to throw obstacles at you, that's for sure.
Exactly. And fasting, it's like a training ground for that.
Totally. You learn to say no to yourself, to not give in, even when it's hard.
To stick to what you believe in.
Yes. And that's powerful stuff.
And what I find really cool is how fasting and power, it takes this thing, fasting, that feels kind of personal, you know?
Yeah, like it's between you and, well, I guess your stomach.
Right, exactly. But the book doesn't leave it there.
Definitely not.
It says that inner strength you're building.
Yeah.
It's not just for you.
It's meant to be shared, like a superpower for good.
Okay, I like that. Superpower for good. That's a good way to put it.
Right. So it's not enough to just be better yourself.
It'd have to lead to something bigger.
Yes.
It's about action.
So personal change and social responsibility.
100%.
Yeah.
The book's saying when you're fasting, when you feel that hunger,
Right.
it would make you think about all those people who feel that all the time.
It's like opening your eyes to something you might miss otherwise. Exactly. And then you got to do something about it.
Give to a food bank, volunteer, speak up for people who need it.
All of that. It's about recognizing that connection we all share.
That we're not just individuals, we're part of something much larger.
And our actions, they have an impact, for better or worse.
And that brings us back to this idea of fasting as power, right?
Full circle.
It's not about like, becoming Superman or anything,
Right. Not superpowers like that.
but it gives you the strength to care about others,
To put their needs before your own sometimes.
to stand up for what's right.
To make the world a little less, well, a little less hungry in all senses of the word.
Exactly. And that's a pretty powerful message, don't you think, whether you're religious or not?
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't want to be a force for good in the world?
Right. And this book, Fasting and Power, it's like a little guidebook for that.
It reminds us that we all have that potential inside us.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes something like fasting
Pushing yourself a little outside your comfort zone.
to really unlock it.
Exactly. So as we finish up here, it's clear this isn't just a simple children's book.
Not at all.
It makes you think about something we thought we knew
Lasting.
in a totally different way. It's not just about the food, right?
It's about the change it can spark.
In you and because of you in the world around you.
It's about realizing that maybe real power comes from a place of, well, a little emptiness.
From that space you create when you fast, a space for reflection, for growth, for connection.
It's definitely given us all a lot to think about. Maybe it's time we all unlocked a little fasting power in our own lives.
Subscribe now to discover the deep spiritual significance of fasting during Ramadan for Muslims. Join us as we make learning both engaging and meaningful. Through our End Times book series for children, we transform complex topics into fun, easy-to-understand lessons that captivate young minds. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button, stay tuned until the end, and enjoy this enriching journey of learning. Subscribe now to discover the deep spiritual significance of fasting